Ever wonder what it takes to become a network and security engineer? Well, today we have a very special guest that's going to tell us his journey into the field. So stay tuned because we're going to talk about that and more coming up. Welcome back, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Bearded IT Dad. Today we have a very special guest. He is a network and security engineer. His name is Balaj, and he's here to tell us what he does on a day to day basis. Welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody, and nice to meet you, Dakota, on this side of the world. So, yeah, let's
Yeah.
dive in.
So where are you from, first of all?
Switzerland.
Switzerland. Wow. What time is it there currently?
It's 6 p.m. now.
6 p.m. and it's 9 a.m. my time. That's crazy. Quite the difference. So yeah, you are a network and security engineer. Kind of tell us what your job is like.
So, if we take it really precise, then I'm owning a company, but every other startup, I do operational tasks as well. So, that's kind of told you to introduce me as a network and security engineer. Um, yeah, so what we do basically, we audit network and security infrastructure. We consult customers in the next 5 year of cloud transformation strategies, for example, and build their security networks on a high end level, probably on customer sites which started to grow out of their, I would say, IT perspective comfort zone, and they kind of messed up everything around, and now they need someone who arrange everything together.
That's awesome. So it sounds like you're helping a lot of people kind of transition to the cloud infrastructure and and helping them with what it takes to do that. Correct?
Exactly. And on the top of that, we're going to start in January with our own ISP setup down here in our village, because we're going to own the entire fiber infrastructure. So everything is set up for a great success story, hopefully.
Uh, I'm very familiar with that. I work for a fiber optic ISP as well. So that's always I always find that very interesting. Hearing companies grow and adapt to the changing infrastructure. Um, I kind of want to dig in a little bit more with cloud because everyone is talking about cloud, and that's kind of
Mm.
a big buzzword right now. I think what what exactly are you guys doing with cloud? If you don't mind, kind of diving a little bit deeper into that.
Yeah. So there are, I would say, three types of directions we will go for the next 5 year for sure. One, for example, is a customer which is around 200 to 500 workplace seats, and they are looking to transform into a part of a cloud service that can be, for example, in the beginning for marketing strategies. We see that in a bigger retailer down here in Europe, that they are moving to the cloud for marketing strategies to use the big data compute engine and all the performance stuff a little bit cheaper than they can use it on premise, right? That's one trend of it. Then, on the other hand, you have the trend of infrastructure and, or I would say, network and security infrastructure services, like you're familiar with that, which are going to be consumed out of the cloud in different ways. For example, one is for local businesses, which ones are really strongly and heavy rooted to the region, right? Those guys are looking to get their cloud services from a local cloud provider, that's for sure. So you have to deliver those services to them from your own platform. And there it's going to be a challenge, because you know it as a network director, that when you take it really detailed, then not every single cloud provider is a independent cloud provider. So that's the way how we're going to build up, as I mentioned before, that we build our own data center, and I mean it's already built, but the layer services on top of them will be our own services with our own BGP feed, all that kind of stuff around that. And that's the second direction. The third direction is, for example, I would say Fortune 100 companies who are choosing cloud transformations. They are going to be migrating one part of the other of the infrastructures into the cloud. Um, but there is an exotic one behind the scenes. For example, the financial industry. It's an interesting question. Maybe you can answer it to me better. How is it on the US side? Because down here in Switzerland, they're kind of restricted in terms of thinking, the way how the strategies goes, like your questions you initiated. And they, yeah, just tell me something. How is it in the US? And I will end up, how is this down here?
Yeah. And I haven't really worked a lot with the financial sector. You know, I have actually worked for different financial institutions in the past, in non IT aspect, and they are very strict and very. There's a certain way, and they have certain uh, regulations they have to follow, and certain standards they have to be held to. Like PCI compliance and other things like that.
Exactly. That. So here they say, for example, they call it FIMMA compliance
Hmm.
policies, which they follow, and they are stricted that way that they just gonna take the infrastructure on premise down in their basements, like it was 20 years ago. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about your backstory and what drove you to start your own company in the IT field.
Mm. You hit me pretty in the heart, so of my being, but it's a good question. Um, it's a bit a long story. I try to give you the shortest, balanced one. It started in my childhood when I started digging out with cables around the buildings, building up some networks for neighbors and my parents and all that kind of stuff. And then I forgot my those activities from the past. Then I went down the economical path. I studied economics, and at the end of the economics, I worked for Microsoft and started programming. And my mentors during my bachelor degree diploma, or during the diploma writing frame, they told me, Balash, that's not the way how we should work out your diploma, because that's a software what you're programming and not the financial analytic stuff, right? And so we finished it successfully, but at the end of the presentation they told me I should go for an IT degree. And I never thought that I will be enough for that, to be honest. And this is how I started studying IT, and specialized my master in network engineering, did all the certifications around that and everything. And this is how I found my way, to be honest. And the real kick in was from a friend of his friend. He's working for a worldwide telecommunication company in Switzerland as well, and he told me, make a CCNA and you will see how your life gonna change. Just do it. Okay. And when I feel it, something is true, I I leave everything behind myself and I just go for it. I made it, and I was just last weekend talking with my wife about that scenario. It's now, I would say, yeah, around about 6 or 7 years ago when I passed my CCNA, and it changed a lot in my life. So you get, I would say, a good income when you work as an employee. And when you follow the path, it rises up a little bit. Of course, you have to sacrifice, you have to learn a lot, you have to take yourself a bit in distance after the learning stuff, but you move on. And as older you get, the more responsibilities you get, and you rise up on that. So, and yes, a couple of universities reached out to me by that time because my wife was studying on another university, system and network engineering, and she and some other classmates passed the exams more than average because I coached them. I just shared with them what I learned through the books in the CCNA, Todd Lemmel at that time, right? And yeah, the director, one of the universities reached out to me. So the director called me by phone and he wanted to invite me really under pressure to talk with me because he heard about how I coach the people and how successfully they are. And I was, oh no. You know what my thoughts were.
Yeah.
Like a child, oh no, what did I wrong that the director of a university is inviting me, right? So I don't thought about. I just went into the interview, and he was offering me a job as a teacher. And I told him I have no social studies or something. I'm a complete unsocial kid who's just banging on the sea line to have a little bit fun. That's all. And he said, "Yeah, that's enough. That's more than enough for us." And so it started, that career path. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I love hearing stories like that. They're, to me, they're so inspirational, and they're really motivating to help people, understand, you I think it helps show that you don't have to be a product expert to really go far in this career. I think there's this kind of stigma in IT. Everyone thinks they have to know everything to be very successful. But, you I think what I get from that story is, you know, you didn't feel like you were, the know-it-all person. You didn't feel like you could be working at a university, that you're just an average person, and you achieve greatness, I think, um just by focusing on, what you really enjoyed.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the key word, enjoy. So we know both that it is a long journey when you take it into. Um, I mean, on the universities, when I asked the audience, why are you sitting here? The first answer was shooting out like a gun, my diploma and my upcoming salary. To be honest, I started on the same point, right?
Mhm.
Maybe you too, but
Yeah,
on the other hand, you figure out that it will not rise up in 2 weeks or less. The main target of earning more, and on the other hand, you have to put in a lot of work. So how are you going to combine those things that you go through successfully, and that's only enjoying? You have to find love for the things what you're doing, and as you told, or as you said, excuse me, is to get inspirations and be open and share what you learn, because just to get it for yourself, it doesn't help you more.
absolutely. And that's a really great thing. So how long have you been in this field now?
12 years.
12 years?
So really, network engineering, hold on, not really, no, no, that's 7.5 year, but in the entire IT engineering field, that's 12 year, yeah.
12 years. That's amazing. What drives you on a day basis? What is your favorite part about this field?
That's a good question. Oh my gosh. um that I The first thing for every day when I wake up, to be honest, on that point, is that I know what I know today with my back package of experience. That I can literally help almost everybody in that field of challenges. And the second one is that the more you experience have, the less you have to work under pressure. and then you start to enjoy it really well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Currently, I'm always studying for my next certification or my next thing. Um, and personally, I don't particularly enjoy studying. I do enjoy studying. I enjoy learning more things and adding more tools to my IT tool set. You could say. But I'm always studying the next thing to make myself better, and that way, when I come across things I don't know, it's not as often I come across those things, and I don't get as stressed out. And when I first started in the IT field, I really felt like I knew nothing, and I was constantly having to look up different things and figure out how things worked. But as time went on, I became more confident in my skills and really started to enjoy the field more and more.
And you said really nice, because I think when we move on this wave ahead, then if you take or give yourself more time to learn things, you're gonna start love it, right?
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
when I started, I was in a rush that was unbelievable, right? And now we can take more time and understand the things a little bit better in the first attempt, right?
Absolutely. So earlier you're telling me you have your own YouTube channel. Do you want to kind of share a little bit about that?
It
I'm always
just
I'm always
started.
curious. Yeah. Oh, I'm always curious about fellow YouTubers and what drove them to start and what is
Yeah.
your direction?
So my direction is to teach people and show people that there are opportunities, especially in these days, to get into the IT without special background or that kind of stuff, right?
Absolutely.
Um, and on the other hand, um, I'm promoting my upcoming online university as well. I promote my business as well, and in a mix that people can get out a lot of value of it, right? And of course, I will point out those things which the most YouTubers out there, maybe I don't want to take the names in my mouth, but there are a couple out there who are not talking about those things which you're facing through challenging times when you step into the IT, right?
Absolutely, and that actually leads me to my next question. I think a lot of people out there paint IT as this rainbows and butterflies, this beautiful thing that's nothing goes wrong and is always great. But there is a darker side of IT. And do you mind sharing kind of some of those things you've seen that you really dread dealing with, or the struggle? Like one thing for me personally is when I started in the field, I went from a pretty high paying job. I was making over $70,000 a year, doing as a bulldozer operator. It was a very kind of mind numbing job, but it paid really well. I took a $20,000 a year pay cut to make the jump into the IT field because I knew it was what I wanted to do and I knew it'd make me happy. And I knew if I kept on working towards my dream, it would eventually, the money would come. But it put a hardship on my family for several years. And do you mind kind of talking a little bit about some of the darker side that some people don't like to talk about?
Yeah, yeah, it's true that when you start investing in yourself, it doesn't matter in which way you go in life, you're gonna experience a hard cut off your salary.
Mm.
Even if you start a business, and when you started before on the highest payout salary which you can get in a country, and then it starts at zero, and your savings are burning away, that you have to learn first to spend that much of money in
Yeah.
one shot, that you're gonna be crazy. But that's the end of the story. The beginning, which you are pointing to, is when you start a career and you invest your money into universities or online degrees, whatever it is. By the end of the day, you invest initially a lot of your money, or you borrow money from others to get going, and you don't get the salary which they are announcing on social media, on wherever it is, right? So you start, for example, at 50, 40K a year, and you work much more than the others who make 150 a year, right? And when you
Absolutely.
ask them for support, they say it's already there. You find the issue. Why are you thinking so much? Just keep going. Shoot out. We have to close the next. Come on. And that's the real reality, right? And the expectations. And I mean, I experienced, to be honest, the other hard way. I entered into a high paid job, and I was kicked out in 3 weeks because I couldn't met their expectations, right? So
Yeah.
and you go home, you drive 2.5 hours. I mean, it was from here. We live in Zurich, and it was 3 hours away from here. And I mean, I drove 6 hours a day to get that job, which makes my dream come true. But I realized in that point that it is working, but I have to learn other things before I get there, right? And there, yeah.
Absolutely. So I know you've worked, do you currently still work for a university, or you worked for a university?
No, I today I corrected the last exams
Yeah.
from my last class at one of the universities, because I start my online academy as a second full time part now. Yeah.
Nice. So you might be a little bit biased on this question, but do you think a degree is necessary to get into the IT field and really advance your career?
It depends on what kind of degree you asking me.
Right. I get this question a lot, and it's kind of a broad question in a sense where people are looking to get in the IT field and they're wondering if they should just study for certifications, or if they should go get a college degree to be able to be successful in IT.
It depends on the mindset, to be honest, right?
Hmm.
Um, we are both engineers on the network part of the world or in the niche.
Hmm.
There are a couple other guys who are more focused and they have more strongness on programming skills, right? Then they should focus to learn on programming languages, because there are so great tools out there you can learn so fast, which I guess both of us haven't got that at our time when we get started, right?
Right.
And now you can choose from them and you can chase it, and the great stuff is there. You don't need a certification or a degree to get started in programming and to get a well paid job, right?
Right.
So I think the first target there is to achieve a fixed income. It doesn't matter how low or high it is, but you can refinance by yourself your next study blocks or degrees. And I think by time it helps when you have a bachelor degree or a master degree, um, but it's not necessary from the beginning, I think.
Absolutely. Um, next question to you is, if you were to give anyone a piece of advice to become a network security engineer, to really get to kind of where you are, what would it be? What type of advice do you have for someone just getting started out and looking to follow a similar path to you?
Sign up for my waiting list. um, I mean, on the other hand, take or choose a teacher who have the experience, not just the theoretical teaching experience, because there you're gonna divide the bread from the butter. I would say that way, because you have to bring the learned skills down to a ground to get really stand up and keep going on your own momentum in your first job, because you're gonna lose it really fast, especially these days. So yeah,
Absolutely.
so make a CCNA to answer it concrete way in a concrete way. Make a CCNA, Don't take shitty dumps. Sorry for that word.
Oh no.
Learn it. Learn it really hard, and it takes time. I took it only 1.5 year, and I was already in a CCMP class. So it takes time, especially because my English wasn't so good then, back then at that day. So yeah, just start with the CCNA and then start searching for a job and keep trying to go on. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, if someone wants to go find your wait list or find more information about you, where can they find it?
Yeah. They're gonna find it on YouTube, for example. The name of the channel is Massive Network Academy, or they go direct to the URL that's www.massivenetworkacademy.com/start. And yeah,
We'll make sure and put
as
that down in the description below so
of
people can
course,
find it
and
easier.
I would suggest they watch the video, and because they have already some information, it's a quick one, and they can download for free a PDF where I wrote everything down what we talk about here, but in more detail, and they get more informations during the next weeks till the launch starts. Yeah,
Awesome.
thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm all about sharing information and helping people advance their careers. I'm not a one-stop shop here. I don't plan on ever being. Um, you know, I only can teach so much information. So, you know, I want to put resources out there for other people. To find other people out there. There's tons of great resources out there.
And how long are you now in your job?
Currently in my job, I'm less than a year as a director, in my current position. So I've actually only been in the field for, gosh, a little over 3 years, going on 4. So I've been in the IT field for about, 3 to 4 years now.
Oh, come on, and already a director of network engineers.
Yeah. I'm very fortunate. I learned fast. My very first job was a IT support specialist, which was you'll learn quick in this field. Job titles suck. In that position, I started out, basic help desk, resetting
Mhm.
user passwords and stuff like that. By the time I left that company after 2 years, I was designing complete networking infrastructure and all IT infrastructure for every all our brand new hotels we were building. I worked for a hotel company, and at one time I was working on designing and developing and deploying the entire network infrastructure for 3 different hotels at the same time. So
Wow.
that job really helped to jumpstart my career. Out of that job, I went got a job as a network engineer for a school district for a short time. Then I landed my current job I was actually started as a NOC technician, a network operations center tech. And after my 90 days with that company, they promoted me to the director of network operations just because they saw my drive. And I was honest with them. I didn't know everything. I had the will to learn, but they said that didn't matter. That they could see the drive in me and the willingness to learn and my ability to communicate with people, and just my honesty. And they knew that all my skills would come over time. And I've learned so much in the short amount of time, and it's really my dream job. I'm doing what I've always dreamed I wanted to do.
Oh, nice, nice. And are you guys doing fiber cabling stuff as well? So
Yeah,
splicing and all the kind of stuff?
absolutely. Yeah, we are a fiber to the premise internet service
Oh,
provider. We're offering gigabit internet to the home and businesses. And we're going far as the future. We're looking at offering up to 10 gigabit here within the next couple years. I never thought I'd hear the day where I could have 10 gigabit internet to my home for a real reasonable price. So it's really
yeah.
amazing what we're doing. We are a small company. We're actually owned by the state government, um, and it's so enjoyable. getting to learn all the new
Interesting.
technologies that are coming out. But yeah, well, thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate you taking this time out of your weekend, to talk with us and hopefully help inspire people to really get their start in the field and grow their careers.
Thank you too. It was a pleasure to join your show and your channel. And hopefully, we can do some other nice projects in the future.
Absolutely. I definitely will reach out to you again and hopefully have you on, and maybe we'll do a live stream together, or some more interviews. I really would appreciate that.
I would love to see you on my first live information event for my online university. So, if you like, I
Abs-
can invite you.
Absolutely. I'd love to come on there. So,
Great.
well, everyone, again, thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions for myself, or gosh, I'm going to pronounce it wrong, but
Balash.
Balash, thank you. I'm so sorry. If you guys have any questions, please make sure and put them in the comments below, and we will get back to every single one of you. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a great day.